Well, now to a very sensitive discussion of a very real significance. The Roman Catholic Church wants legal burial for unborn babies who die at less than 6 months. Now, under the current legislation, unborn babies who die before 26 weeks are regarded, I do not mean to be crass, as medical waste and cannot be legally buried. The Church has approached the Constitutional Court to change all that. Let's hear now from the head of the Catholic Church in South Africa. It's always a pleasure, Cardinal Wilfrid Napier. Cardinal, good to have you with us. A very important discussion to have. Why approach the courts now?
I think the main reason, Gareth, is to emphasize the value of human life. And in whatever form it is still present here on this earth, and in whatever form it is, whether it's in a body or whatever. I think that's a very important thing, is that we show respect for human life. And when a child has been miscarried or has been aborted, that's still a sacred life, and we want to emphasize the sacredness.
Help me understand, Cardinal, if you could, why is the current legislation written in a way that it's not seen as a baby, an unborn baby, being legally buried before 26 weeks? What's the rationale behind that?
I would fear that the rationale is in order to not face the actual blatant fact that from the moment of conception, we have got a human being in development in a mother's womb. So if you have a legislation which allows women to have abortions until whatever stage it is, you cannot at the same time be upholding the sacredness and the uniqueness of the child that is in her womb. What I find so strange is people will talk about and use the expression, she is with child, she's pregnant. But when it comes to an abortion, it's just something of tissues. It's not a human being at all. And I think that's what we're trying to emphasize, that once that body has been formed, it needs to be respected like any other human body.
What kind of fights, what kind of opposition have you had up to this point that you now feel you're having to approach the Constitutional Court? Give me a sense of that.
We have had, I suppose, the position that it's a woman's choice, it's a woman's right, and that's the main line of attack, if you like, or main line of defense against showing respect for babies that are still in the womb or babies that have miscarried or been aborted. I think our position is it's got its own DNA, it's a completely separate human being, and therefore must be accorded the same respect that every other human being is accorded. Most of the fight has been done by legal people, because that's where the engagement is at the legal level. We have been supplying very much, I would say, the theological and the moral position of why that legal position that they're taking is an important one.
And I think it's important, Cardinal, that we just try and separate the conversations here. This is not a conversation, to my understanding, about abortion. This is about the recognition of whatever reason, whether it's an abortion or a miscarriage that is 26 weeks or younger, is given the proper recognition. Because I feel that the moment we bring in the word abortion, the conversation changes quickly. That's not what we're talking about here.
Not necessarily, but sometimes it's the best way for parents to overcome a difficult situation in their relationship is to have a proper recognized service for the child that they have lost. Let's call it the child that they have lost, by whatever means they've lost it, and that they have proper recognition of the dignity of that child. I think this is what we are trying to give them the opportunity to do, is to show that respect.
With this heading all the way to the Constitutional Court, Cardinal, I imagine that there's been a number of legal steps before you've reached this point as well. You say it's now sitting in that legal framework, that legal level as well. Why do you think it's gotten as far as the Constitutional Court?
I think deep down in every human heart, there's a consciousness that what we're dealing with is something precious. Even if people don't believe. And there's built into us that instinct. Why is it when a baby comes in, there's an immediate reaction to no matter what the human being is, man or woman? We have this built into us, I think, to recognize that there's God's image and likeness there before us, and we must show the due respect. that is proper.
Well, I appreciate your time in speaking to us. Cardinal Wilfrid Napier, head of the Catholic Church in South Africa, joining us here on the South African Morning.